Hello again. Hey, this is another video of the tiny cabin slash tiny house I'm building. As you can see here, we've got a lot of progress since the last video. I pretty much have, for the most part, all the sheathing on except for these small little strips here. And let me explain why. There's going to be some photos. There's going to be a website, and I think I mentioned that before, where these photos are posted. You can see some of these photos that kind of, I guess, probably gap these videos in terms of kind of showing some aspects of the cabin that may not be shown on the videos. But anyhow, I had some planks set up there that came out, some 2x10s, and then had on top of that some 4 foot by 8 foot sheets of plywood or OSB as a platform to get to the top. It was my way of not having to go out and rent scaffolding or, you know, acquire scaffolding. I don't have a truck, so I'm pretty much reliant upon having it delivered, and usually with every delivery there's that little charge. So anyhow, I'm going to show you real quick. Bear with me. I'm going to walk to the back of the cabin. I actually have it set up. Here's that platform I'm talking about. I went ahead and moved it for the time being, so I just got done sheathing the back of this, the top, the loft area. Wanted to get the wrap on there, but I'm doing this after work. I've been out here for probably about 3 hours or so, and my drive home is, well, about an hour and a half with no traffic. That and anyhow, so with that being said, that and also too the heat index right now, probably for the last couple weeks. I live on the East Coast. The heat index has been, the temperature has been about, the regular temperature has been about 95, 97. With the heat index, it's well into hundreds. Probably 100, anywhere between 105, 110. High humidity, just sweating, dripping sweat. It looks like I jumped in a pond. But anyhow, it still needs to get built. It still needs to get done. Once again, I had to submit for permits for this. And like most of you out there know, with permits, you have a kind of a time constraint, so to speak. And that, and also too, I just want to get it built and want to get it done. And so, you know, you gotta put up with, you know, whatever, I guess if you want to say Mother Nature deals you in terms of weather. You know, I've been out here in the cold, been out here in the rain, been out here in, you know, decent days, and now this. So anyhow, enough about that. But here's one of the back doors, or sorry, here is the back door. It's been a long day. But anyhow, I picked this door up. Originally I was going to get a steel door. This is a fiberglass door. It cost me a little bit more money, but just the details, you know, for the cost I have putting into this cabin, and for the, you know, if you want to say it, longevity of the doors and the looks too, I just went ahead and paid like another maybe $60 per door or so, just to get a little bit better quality door. They're Energy Star rated too, and I don't know if I mentioned before or not, but that can help you with tax time. So with that being said, I still need to build a stoop back here. I need to acquire some more lumber for that, with some steps. So that will come at some point. It'll probably be very similar to the front porch and front stairs setup. So we're going to go back around front and take a look at that. Oh, and real quick here, by the way, this is a door that goes in right into the one bedroom downstairs. So, but I've got things kind of thrown about in there, but I guess that's what happens when you get going. So bear with me, and we'll go around front here. But here's one of the walls here real quick. I haven't cut out for the windows yet, just because I haven't taken the time to go out and pick up the windows and install them. So I figured, you know, all this time it's been getting rained on and everything else, I figured I'd, you know, leave that up until I was ready for the windows and cut them out, or you know, flap them over. But here's a closer look. Sorry about the mess. Here's a closer look of the front steps there. I think the last video I did, it was a little bit of ways away. Now, mind you too, the front porch isn't quite finished. I left the sideboards off. I haven't screwed everything down as it should be, just because I'm jumping from one part to the next. Just tired of moving up and down, you know, on a ladder. But anyhow, as I mentioned before, these were some leftover 2x6s I had, weather treated, 4x4 posts, and then 2x12s. So there's that. Here's the windows. I decided to go with these windows. They're a little bit more expensive than what I was going to originally get, but I think in the long run, it might be a better quality window. And the other ones I was going to buy, nothing against them or anything, they're called Reliabuilt. You know, they looked okay and all that, but one thing too is I'm not sure if they included a screen. I'd have to go back and look. So these here include a screen, and I'm not, you know, I'm not trying to solicit anybody in terms of business or anything like that. It's just what I decided to go with in terms of for building this this place. So, and once again, I'm not a builder at all. So it's just one of those things, you know. Sometimes if you put your mind to it and ask a lot of questions, and you know, have the patience, and let me tell you, you know, I've learned my lessons on this place. I've had my mistakes, had my flaws, but you know, we're moving forward. So, but you know, it's just part of the, you know, learning process. Actually, kind of surprised. It's kind of dark in here right now. But as you can see, once again, sorry about the mess. The stairs, obviously, the stairs are, well, maybe not obviously. The stairs are going to go here, kind of come down here. I still got to build those and put those in. Using a ladder to get to the loft area, and that's where I was kind of working at here a little bit ago to cut my sheeting up there and walk it out there onto the platform and get it nailed up. That window up there is going to be 36 by 62. And the reason for that is egress. Once again, county code. If I want that to be considered a habitable space or kind of like a second bedroom, it needs to have an egress point. So the window's a little bit more than the other windows. The other windows down here, I believe, are $96. That one up there is probably $150, $157. But I'm kind of hoping too that, you know, I didn't check this before I began. I guess it didn't much matter then, is whether the back is kind of facing the south or not, because that could really help, you know, in the winter months with passive heating, I think it's called, where it'll let through a lot of that sunlight and help heat that space. And up here in the top, eventually I'll have a ceiling fan, a hanging ceiling fan to help circulate all that air. But this thing is just going to be, and later on we'll get to that video, but this thing is just going to be insulated to the hilt. Once again, county code. So I know some of you guys are probably getting tired of hearing county code, but when you're building kind of where I am and how I am, it's just one of those things that unfortunately kind of goes along with it. But on these windows too, I'm not quite finished with them. You guys may have called it or not, I'm not sure. These windows here yet are, I haven't put any caulk behind them yet. Once again, this is first time building, first time installing windows. So I'm going to pop these windows back out. Just got screws holding them in right now. Pop these windows back out, put some good caulk behind them, and then on the front there, I got this stuff. It's called Tight Seal. It's kind of like a rubberized tape, I guess. You know, kind of a little bit thicker. And the purpose of this is you just kind of use my hand here for a second. Kind of run this piece down here. You run it on the bottom. You run it on the bottom first, bottom of the window. And then you come back and get the sides, leaving an overlap. Then you come up and get your top. Get your top. That way, when the rain comes down, if it gets behind there, instead of going back behind this lip here, it's going to come down over top. But also with that too, when I pop the window out, I also need to pull my vapor barrier out and have that flap over the top, as I've seen done, and then tape the seam here. So, you know, with all this, and then on top of that, I'm going to put I believe it's called J channel up here above the window. Run that out a little bit, And then on top of that, I'll have my trim board. And I've seen sometimes where they also run a piece of jade channel on top of that. So there's going to be a lot of, if you want to say, lines of defense. And then also too, on the bottom I've seen, so there'll be a little bit of time on these windows kind of setting them up right. On the bottom, this same rubberized tape kind of goes over top of that jamb when the window's out and kind of lips over there. That way if you do get any water down in here, hopefully it'll catch on that lip, that rubberized lip, and not start rotting your wood out. There's a picture I'll try to post eventually on the website of what the place out here used to look like. And the only reason I believe that the place isn't still standing is because water damage, you know, primarily from the roof. You know, it was really old too. You know, it wasn't, you know, up to code and couldn't live in it by any means. At one point someone did. But anyhow, enough about that. So, but up here on the front here, I went ahead and did the front there kind of first. I went ahead and put the sheathing on, put the vapor barrier on, then put the trim boards down. Those are like 6-inch wide, you know, 5.5 inches. But anyhow, they're I was gonna go with cedar for that, but just the cost is unbelievable. It's like double the cost per board. So, you know, I figured, you know, it's weather treated. If I really need to, I could put a good stain on there to help with that too. But just with cost, it's just crazy, the prices for some of this stuff. Then after that, I went ahead and put on my gable trim piece, and all this I gotta, you know, finish and, you know, trim it out and stuff and everything else, you know, cut it to fit and all that. But but yeah, I think it turned out really well. Definitely really happy with it. I still got to tape that seam up there on the vapor barrier. You know, little tidbits that you need to, you know, go back and catch, and just to make sure it's as good as you can get it. So, you know, even though, once again, I'm not a builder, I want this thing to be built as best as possible. And hopefully, I don't know if I mentioned this before, by the time it's all done and said with the finishing touches inside, hopefully I'll have no more than $15,000 into it. But anyhow, here before too long, we'll be beginning work too on the electrical and plumbing. Those I plan to do as well myself. I've done electrical before, not professionally once again. Don't have a license, but when you're the homeowner, the county allows you to do that work. It's still going to be inspected. If it's not right, you're going to have to fix it just like a professional would. So we'll get into the details of that later, but I've acquired those permits. For the 2 permits, you know, where I'm at, it goes by price of job, and I said for the electrical it's going to be about $1,000, and for the plumbing it's going to be about $1,000. Now maybe a little bit above that or a little bit below that, but anyhow, so they base it upon that price. And for the two permits together, I think it cost me like $135 for the permits. So, you know, again, when you're dealing with permits, it feels like you're jumping through hoops, but you really are. But anyhow, enough about all this for now. We'd love to show you more, explain more, but you can see the loft here. That's it's going to be roughly, well, I guess not so much necessarily the loft, but the ceiling here, the finished ceiling underneath, over above the, because it's all going to be open right here. It's going to be roughly from the floor to the ceiling about 14 feet. So I think it's going to be pretty cool, pretty neat. Then you got this window up here too, but help with that cross ventilation from through there and with the fan and all that. So, but you know, it's really cool seeing something like this take place or take shape. You know, you sit there and you think about it, and you think about it, and you go through kind of the pains of, you know, thinking it through and everything that's involved in that. And you're building it, and, you know, just everything, and just to see it kind of just you know, exist, you know, and know that you did this. So But, you know, with that, you know, if you're meant to do something, not trying to get, you know, philosophical or religious or anything else on you guys, but if you're meant to do something and you have it in your heart, it's going to happen. So as long as you're willing to put the work in. So, but anyhow, I know this video is a little long, but it's been a little bit. It's been a little while, and you know, hopefully here, maybe I'll get a different camera, get this one set up on a tripod or something, and so you can actually see me working on it some, and you know, we'll get into some of the other aspects of it. So the one thing I used to do, and I'll tell you guys this, is I used to hang drywall and finish drywall, and there'll be a little bit of that in here. So that I can contest to, that I used to do for a job. I had a great mentor. He was 24 years my, well, I'm sorry, I take that back. He was about 44 years my senior. I was probably about 20 years old, and he was sorry for the ums. Anyhow, I was probably 20 and he was probably 64 years old. And I tell you what, it was really awesome learning from him. But anyhow, you guys take care, and see you next time. Bye.